What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Sunday, November 10th, 2024, and I have an emergency update to share with you guys. Right now it is 15:28 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from here in the United States. So, the Washington Post is reporting this afternoon that Trump apparently threatened Putin on Thursday in a phone call. So here you can see the headline: Trump talked to Putin, told Russian leader not to escalate in Ukraine. President-elect Donald Trump spoke with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday and discussed the war in Ukraine, according to people familiar with the call. President-elect Donald Trump spoke with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday, the first phone conversation between the two men since Trump won the election, said several people familiar with the matter. During the phone call, which Trump took from his resort in Florida, he advised the Russian president not to escalate the war in Ukraine and reminded him of Washington's sizable military presence in Europe, said a person familiar with the call who, like others interviewed for this story, spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss a sensitive matter. The two men discussed the goal of peace on the European continent, and Trump expressed an interest in follow-up conversations to discuss the resolution of Ukraine's war soon, several of the people said. Wow, so according to sources familiar with the call, Russian President Vladimir Putin was threatened by Trump not to escalate the war in Ukraine, and Trump reminded Putin of the U.S. military presence in Europe. Wow, what a way to start off his presidency. Well, he's actually not officially president yet. He has to be inaugurated first, but wow. And a lot of Democrats have been fear-mongering about Trump abandoning Ukraine, and I told you guys he would not do that. It's not in America's interests to abandon Ukraine like that and give Putin everything that he wants, okay? So this is absolutely huge news. And yesterday I reported that Iran launched an EMP into space, and I want to just update you guys on that. If you didn't see my update yesterday, I recommend you watch it. I put all the details of this launch in my update yesterday, but basically there was video footage that was released by various sources in Iran, and that's what you're looking at here. And it shows some kind of missile being launched into space from Iran. And then after this video surfaced, the Iranian Space Agency posted some tweets stating that they'd launched some kind of weapon into space that would blind Israeli satellites, okay? So using common sense, which is not so common anymore, that would mean that this is some kind of an EMP weapon or anti-satellite weapon or both, okay? And we know that Iran launched several satellites recently. Actually, Russia launched these satellites for Iran. It was actually a private satellite launch, okay? But how do we know that all those satellites that were launched by Russia for Iran don't have EMPs on them or anti-satellite weapons, but this looks like some kind of EMP anti-satellite weapon? And for more details, check out my update from yesterday, but that is absolutely huge news. We're also seeing more aerial refuelers moving over to Europe and the Middle East this afternoon. Here you can see several KC-135 aerial refuelers heading over to the Middle East to support our fighter jets and bombers that are over there now. And by the way, we moved 6 nuclear-armed B-52s to Qatar, okay? And we also moved some strategic aerial refuelers the past week or two, and more strategic aerial refuelers last night. Here you can see two KC-46 Pegasus planes with the call signs Blue 36 and Blue 37 that flew from New Jersey to Rota, Spain. Now, Rota, Spain is known for hosting U.S. bombers, okay? That's where the U.S. keeps their B-52s and other bombers that are deployed in the European and Middle Eastern theater, okay? So these are high priority strategic aerial refuelers being moved now to Rota, most likely to support those bombers that are now in Qatar, and there's probably several more bombers in Rota still. And then we had another aerial refueler last night go from the UK to Saudi Arabia, and we know that the US moved another F-15E squadron to the Middle East, okay, this past week. Now, one thing about the F-15E that a lot of people missed on social media is that the F-15E can carry more B-61 nuclear gravity bombs than any fighter jet in the U.S. Air Force or in NATO. The F-15E can carry up to 5 B-61 nuclear gravity bombs, okay? So that is a lot more than F-16s. F-16s can only carry 2 B-61s, and F-35s, I think, also 1 or 2, okay? So more than double the number of B-61s by the F-15. That is huge, okay? So clearly, we are moving nuclear assets into the Middle East in the event of an escalation. Okay, we moved those 6 nuclear-capable B-52s to Qatar. We moved another squadron of F-15Es. The F-15E is a long-range fighter bomber that can carry, like I said, 5 B-61 nuclear gravity bombs. Okay, so they're getting ready to nuke Iran if Iran decides to do something stupid. And last night, we had 2 nuclear war command and control planes up in the air, which is pretty unusual for a Saturday night. And last night, Ukraine sent at least 34 drones to Moscow, the most since the start of the war. Moscow airports had to shut down temporarily during the attack. 32 Ukrainian drones were destroyed over Moscow, according to the mayor of Moscow. And Ukraine also launched drones at other regions and destroyed some kind of an arsenal in Bryansk. Russia then sent a massive number of drones towards Ukraine. Ukrainian air defense shot down 62 out of 145 Iranian drones overnight. And we're hearing some news that Russia is massing 50,000 troops in the Kursk region along with North Korean troops to try to force the Ukrainians out of Kursk, according to the New York Times. And Russian forces executed another Ukrainian prisoner of war, prompting Ukraine to submit a report to the UN, and there is video footage of it, which I'm not going to show you, but Russia executing another unarmed, wounded Ukrainian prisoner of war. And multiple Russian drones crashed into Moldova. A drone was found near the Boroseni village in Moldova and also near the village of Furladani. The Moldovan Foreign Ministry confirmed that both drones found today belong to the Russian Federation. The Foreign Ministry noted that the violation of the airspace of the Republic of Moldova is a serious violation and a hostile gesture by Russia. And speaking of Moldova, the Moldovan president was just re-elected. And what's interesting about Moldova is that they just had elections, and in these elections, the pro-EU president and the pro-EU parliament was re-elected. So I don't know if Russia sent these drones into Moldova on purpose. And France plans to deliver a new batch of Scalp missiles to Ukraine, according to the Minister of Defense, Sebastian Lecornu. And the lower house of the Polish parliament passed a Civil Defense Act, which now awaits passing by the Polish Senate and signing by the Polish president, both of which are likely to happen. And we know that Poland has already started building a massive defense line along their border with Belarus and Russia. This is going to be the largest defense line in Europe since World War II. Okay, I repeat, Poland is building the largest defense line in Europe since World War II. Okay, they're going to spend the equivalent of $2.5 billion US on this defense line, and it's going to span for hundreds of miles, and it's going to include anti-tank trenches, mines, pre-positioned equipment, all kinds of things, okay? Bunkers, okay? And the Baltic countries are doing the same thing. And the Russian military has deployed a new observation post in the Golan Heights on the Syrian side of the border with Israel. And what you're looking at here is a picture of this observation post right on the border of Israel. Guys, this is biblical. Okay, the Bible says that Russia is going to attack Israel in the end times. Okay, they're going to launch a surprise attack on Israel halfway through the tribulation period. And you could read about that in the book of Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39. But Russia forms an alliance with Middle Eastern countries and attacks Israel according to the Bible. And we're already seeing Russia building up their forces on the border with Israel. This is absolutely insane. Here's another picture. And Syrian media outlets reported explosions earlier today in Damascus. Damascus is the capital of Syria. So looks like Israel launched some kind of an airstrike on Damascus. That's also biblical as well. And the Iranian Foreign Ministry said today, we strongly condemn the Israeli attack on a residential building in Damascus, Syria. And Iran's foreign minister warned if the war expands, its effects will not be limited to the region alone. Okay, so very serious, basically threatening U.S. forces and other countries in the surrounding area. And the IAEA Director General will visit Iran this week. Okay, that's the International Atomic Energy Agency, the nuclear agency of the UN. Okay, the leader is going to be visiting Iran this week. Now, in the last couple of weeks, we've been tracking these mysterious earthquakes in Iran. Okay, and we had several 4.0s and 3.8s in various parts of Iran where Iran is known to do missile testing. And the seismographs from these earthquakes appear to be the same as the North Korean nuclear tests. They did not look like natural earthquakes, okay? So it seems like Iran is testing nuclear warheads already, okay? And that could be their response to Israel's second strike, is rather than attacking Israel again, maybe they're just going to supercharge their nuclear program and declare themselves a nuclear state before Trump gets sworn in, because we know that Trump wants to denuclearize Iran. He said it, okay? He said a few weeks ago that the Iranian nuclear sites should have been hit in this second strike that Israel did. Okay, so Iran is scared. They might supercharge their nuclear program and try to declare themselves a nuclear state. And that's why they've been testing these warheads so much in the last couple of weeks in areas that are known to be missile testing sites, and the seismographs not looking like normal earthquakes. And there was some kind of a Hamas assassination plot against Israel's national security minister that was foiled. And President-elect Donald Trump spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu 3 times over the past week, according to Netanyahu, who said, quote, "In recent days I have spoke 3 times with President-elect Donald Trump. These were very good and important conversations. We see eye to eye on the Iranian threat in all its components and the danger it poses. We also see the great opportunities that Israel faces in the field of peace and its expansion and in other areas." So, guys, get prepared. Okay, it looks like under the Trump administration, we may finally see this massive denuclearization and decapitation strike on Iran. And the Israeli National Security Council has urged Israeli citizens to avoid traveling to Israeli sports events across Europe. And this is coming after the anti-Semitic mobs in Amsterdam that were hunting for Jews and attacking Jews. And the Justice Department on Friday disclosed an Iranian murder-for-hire plot to kill Donald Trump, charging a man who said he had been tasked by a government official before this week's election with planning the assassination of the Republican president-elect. Investigators were told of the plan to kill Trump by Farhad Shakeri, an accused Iranian government asset who spent time in American prisons for robbery and who authorities say maintains a network of criminal associates enlisted by Tehran for surveillance and murder-for-hire plots. Shakeri told the FBI that a contact in Iran's paramilitary IRGC instructed him this past September to set aside other work he was doing and assemble a plan within 7 days to surveil and ultimately kill Trump, according to a criminal complaint unsealed in federal court in Manhattan. So this is huge news, guys. Iran tried to assassinate Trump again this past week. They're obviously scared of him, okay, because he wants to denuclearize them. And Canada has reported their first case of the H5N1 bird flu. A teenager was hospitalized. And here we have some interesting video footage coming out from Texas showing this massive meteor that broke apart in the atmosphere last night. Absolutely insane. Look at that, guys. Crazy footage. A lot of people thought this was some kind of a UFO, but it was just a massive meteor that broke up in the sky. Absolutely insane. Look at that. And here we have some crazy footage coming out of China showing these robot dogs that are built for combat doing some kind of training exercise. You know, all these Hollywood movies predict the future, and when I was a kid, Terminator was very, very popular. It was one of my favorite movies. It still is, and the whole Terminator series. And you know, here you can see basically things that were in movies in the 80s and 90s, okay? These robot creatures, you know, artificial intelligence, absolutely insane. This is how wars are going to be fought in the future, and hopefully we don't end up like the Terminator movies where the machines turn against us, but I'm afraid that we already have machines with AI inside of them. And some of these machines are probably a lot more complicated and advanced than these dogs, okay? So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Hope you guys are having a great Sunday. I might be back later with another update. If not, I'll check into the 24/7 stream later. So check me out on Telegram and Twitter. The links to my Telegram and Twitter are in the description below this video. I post all my updates over there. So if you follow me there, you'll never miss an update because sometimes YouTube doesn't send out notifications for some reason. But I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. And also I wanted to wish Ross Niderman a very happy birthday. Ross Niderman, happy birthday, bro. And until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.